I see stuff like this, and it makes me cringe. It actually makes me cringe because I've been that broke dude before who had no money, and I've been sleeping on friends' couches. And I've been that guy that's made a lot of money, 6 figures, plus. But I've always saved that money so I can invest. So when I see a story like this, I'm thinking, what are you doing, people? Yeah. What are you doing? So this is the most common mistake I see in money management. This is going to be a huge lesson on living above your means. All right, let's get into it. So this is an article from the Motley Fool. We respect them a lot. We partner up with USA Today. They've got a great personal finance section. I read all their stuff. I read Business Insider. I read CNBC. I read it all. Motley Fool's got some good stuff. So here's the article. 40% of Americans making $100,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck. Did you get me on that one, David?
One more time?
Yes, I'm going to say that one more time.
That's kind of freaking me out right now.
I'm not talking about household. I'm talking about individuals. 40% of Americans making $100,000 or more are living paycheck to paycheck. So here we go. Let's get into this bad boy. So, everybody's obviously trying to reach, that symbolic 6 figures. I'm making 6 figures now, bro.
Yeah.
6 figures. Killing it. I'm killing it. That's awesome. How many people, best guess, what percentage of Americans are making $100,000 or more today? Best guess. What do you got?
I got 10%, 20%?
10%.
Yeah, 10%.
Let us know in the comments. We're watching the comments right now. David, are you tracking comments?
I'm tracking comments.
You track those comments.
Track of the 100K.
Vanessa, what percentage of Americans today are making $100,000 or more? What do you guess?
Oh, 6%.
6%?
Yeah.
Not 5, but 6. All right, you want to know the answer? You said how long?
I said 10%.
You said 10, and you said 6. It's almost
6.
like you're picking my brain here. If you add those up, David, I know you're not a math guy. 10 and 6. What does that equal?
It's a hard 16.
That's a hard 16, and that is your answer. Ding, 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 ding. 16% of Americans are making $100,000 or more. Woo! So it's not the 1%. It's not the crazy. I think the number is you got to make about $400,000 or more to be in the quote-unquote 1%. Let's see what the people are saying out there.
Yeah,
Unique B said 20%. Victor said 7. We got 3. We got 7. We got 5. So people are there, some 25%. Sherry in the house. Michael Coleman, 20%. The answer is 16. So people aren't far off. You know how much that equates to? That's 28 million Americans making 100 G's o mo. But this is the point of this article. You got 16% of Americans making $100,000 or more. It's 28 million people. But here's the point of the article. What happens when they make that money? What happens? So according to this report, right, the Motley Fool, 40% of these people are living paycheck to paycheck. So this is, there's a song. When I heard this song, I was doing a Man on the Street episode at Rolling Loud, the initial Rolling Loud, not the one I did with you. First one I did is a few years ago. We went to Rolling Loud. That was crazy.
Yeah, fun time.
Actually, people were better financially than we thought.
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
Like smarter than we thought.
Yeah.
But basically, I heard this song, and the song goes like this. Spend that shit. Spend that shit. Spend a check and get it right back. You ever heard that song? It's by a guy called Day Day.
No.
I'm like, don't do it, bro.
Don't do it.
Don't spend that shit. You're not going to get it right back.
Don't listen to him.
It ain't going to happen. Don't listen to Day Day. Anyway, Day Day. Apparently, a lot of people are listening to that spend that shit, and they're not getting it right back.
Yeah,
or maybe they're expecting to get it right back.
Yeah.
But when shit hits the fan, they might not get it back. So let's get into basically the spend that shit, get it right back approach. You're making $100,000 or more. What happens to these Americans, right? Let's get into why this is happening. There's going to be 2 sections. Number 1, the basics, just straight numbers, straight math, and then we'll get into the behavioral side of things. So let's get into why this is happening. These are the basics. Number 1, housing costs are going up. We've all seen this over the last year, right? Everything that's going on with the pandemic, people can't wait to buy a house. Things are getting more expensive. So according to Realtor.com, legitimate website, they know their stuff, the median rent for the 50 largest metro areas was up to $1,600 this summer. That's for a 1-bedroom. That's how they base it, on a 1-bedroom. And then obviously things go up from there. That's up 8% from 2020. So that marks the highest rents ever for 44 out of 50 of the largest metro areas. Okay, so rents are going up. Things are getting more expensive. Obviously, $100,000 doesn't go as far in certain cities. So if we're talking the 50 largest metro areas, most expensive cities in America, clearly New York City, San Francisco, San Jose area, LA, Boston's up there, Honolulu, Hawaii is up there. Those are obviously the top most expensive cities. But then you also got cities like Detroit, Atlanta, Charlotte, right? Where your $100,000 might go a little bit further. So let's just factor that in. Certain cities, more bang for your buck than other cities. You make $100,000 in New York, you're average. You make $100,000 in Detroit.
Not too shabby.
King of the castle.
King of the castle.
Yeah, here we go.
No.
So obviously rents are going up a little bit. Things are more expensive. We get it. What else is happening right there? We're talking basics right now before we get into behavioral. We're talking basics. So healthcare costs have gone. You know how much healthcare is, out of pocket, how much it's gone up in the last couple decades?
No clue.
6x, sixfold. So,
wow.
You might have been paying $100 for health insurance a couple decades ago. Now you may be paying $400 as an example, or $600.
Yeah.
Right? Things are going up. So healthcare certainly has, that's Obamacare. We won't get all started that. It's not a political show. But healthcare's costs have gone up, so that's taken more of a chunk of your paycheck. What else? Just basic necessities, bro. Basic necessities. What? Food, power, gas. People were freaking out when gas was going up earlier this summer. Inflation. Those are some of the basics. So costs are obviously going up. But David, Vanessa, my friends at home, Valuetainment, there's a sneakier problem. There's a sneakier problem out there.
What is it?
Do you want to know what it is?
What is it?
It's something called lifestyle creep. Dun, 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 dun. Oh my God. The creeps.
Turn it off.
The creeps are out. The creeps come out at night. Yeah. Lifestyle creep. Now you might be saying, what's this lifestyle creep, bro? Who's creeping? Who's creeping on the come up?
I see creepy people.
I see dead people. I see creepy people. What's going on with these creeps? Let me tell you about these creeps. Because the people out there that are making money, they creeping. Right? So lifestyle creep is when your standard of living improves as your discretionary income rises and former luxuries now become the new necessities. Let me say that again. Lifestyle creep is when your standard of living improves. You're making some more money. You got some more discretionary income. Life's good. And now the former things that were luxuries, now they're necessities. We talk about having a budget, a 50-30-20 rule. 50% go to your needs, 30% to your wants, 20% to your savings and paying off debt. There's a formula to this. It's not like, how do I do this? I don't know. There's a formula. We talked about that last time. The person who just couldn't save any money.
Yeah.
I told him 50-30-20 rule. But here's what happens with this lifestyle creep. They develop what is known as that deserve mentality. Well, I'm working hard. I'm making money. I deserve some nice things.
Hell yeah.
I deserve some. Treat yourself. It's time to treat yourself.
I mean,
right? Right? So now, maybe you were making 50 grand. Now you're making 100 grand, right? Maybe you're making 60. Now you're making 120. Maybe you're making 90. Now you're at 150. Whatever it is, now you got that deserve mentality. It's time to treat yourself. So maybe you were driving a 2014 Honda. It's time for a new BMW, baby. Right? Maybe you got a little Casio watch. Time to get that Rolex. Right? Maybe you were sitting in economy. Now fly first class, baby. I'm first class. Maybe I fly private. Cha-ching. Thank you, David. So maybe, maybe you just, you dress nice, you dress normal. Now it's time for a fresh outfit. It's that treat yourself mentality.
Yeah.
This is lifestyle creep. So listen, we're talking about the creeps. I know we're joking. And people start to spend more of their discretionary income. So look, one thing I will say is, obviously, as you start to do better and you start to make more money, it's natural to want to reward yourself, right? Like,
of course. You have the key to more things.
You have the key to more things. Like, what's the last thing that you bought? You're like, time for me to treat myself.
Believe it or not, it was this here shirt.
Yeah? Stand up.
Like
Show the people what you got.
It's Chelsea FC.
Chelsea FC. I know that jacket ain't new. You wear that every day.
I wear this every day. It's my production coordinating jacket.
Vanessa, what's the last thing you said? Time for me to treat myself.
This watch, actually.
Okay, how much did you drop on that?
$150.
Okay, nothing crazy. Nothing's crazy. So it's fine to reward yourself. There's no problem with that.
It was months ago, okay? Bye.
Okay. But it's important to define your splurge. Let's remember that. Define your splurge. So what do I mean by that? It's time for me to splurge. I want something. What's the one thing, one keyword, one thing that you really want? Something that brings you joy. All right, you know what? I've been working hard. You know, I've been driving this jalopy for 6 years. I got to get a new car, bro. I'm dying inside.
Yeah.
Right? Or you know what? I've been working hard. I started making 30 grand a year, then 50 grand. Now I'm making 100 grand a year. I've always wanted a new watch. I always wanted a Rolex.
Yeah.
All right, cool. That's your one thing. You know what? I got the most busted wardrobe, like our friend Paul out there.
Oh,
got the most busted
so
wardrobe.
ugly.
Time for me to ball out in the mall. Time for me to get some fresh gear and look good. I want to hit the club. I want to feel good. All right, I get it. But pick one. You ever heard the thing? You're doing too much, bro. You're doing too much.
Just carrying the hose, bro.
Yeah, right?
Doing too
you got a
much.
new car, now you got a new watch, now you can fly in private, or you're flying first class, or you're going to Starbucks every single day. You're doing too much. That's that deserve mentality. That's that treat yourself. Treat yourself. I'm getting choked up over here. I'm sad for these people. So there's something that has been known in the financial world that people probably hear about all the time. You're trying to keep up with the Joneses. You're trying to keep up with the Joneses. They say that all the time. Now, I don't know who they're talking about. I don't know if they're talking about Tommy Lee Jones or James Earl Jones or freaking Indiana Jones. The Jones is irrelevant. You're trying to keep up with the Joneses, all right? So understand, here's my advice. You're like, all right, great. We're making fun of these people, but this isn't funny in terms of like the reality of it. Because you spend. Next thing you know, something happens that, oh shit, now you're broke. Now your net worth is nothing. So here's my advice. If you get a raise, act like you didn't get a raise for at least 6 months. So they say...
That's fair.
They say when you win the lottery, right? And I'm not comparing going from making 60 to making 100 or making 80 to 100 or 80 to 120 as winning the lottery, but it is a windfall. Right? So there's advice of when you have a windfall. They say if you win the lottery and all of a sudden you went from just being like living in a trailer park, and now you got $100 million, what's the first thing you should do? You know what they say? The first thing you should do?
What's that?
Do nothing. Do nothing. They basically say let it simmer. Let it marinate like a good pasta sauce, right?
I know, it's
tough.
burning a hole in my pocket.
Burning a hole.
Man.
I got to spend it. But basically they say do nothing. Give it 6 months and just let it, just give it a second. So before you do anything major with this windfall, with this newfound $20,000, $50,000, $100,000, whatever additional income you have, just give it a minute, bro. Let it marinate.
Take a second.
Just take a second, right?
Take a chill pill.
Yeah, obviously there's minor expense. I want to get a $150 watch, cool. But I'm talking about going and buying a $40,000 car. Right? Or dropping 10 grand on a Rolex.
Right.
Or going on a vacation where you're dropping 10 grand. You're going to Europe, you're going to the Philippines, you're going to Thailand, whatever. So here's what I did. This is my advice. There was a time in my life where like literally the most I ever made up until I was 26 years old, I was doing stand-up comedy, I was a club promoter, I was getting paid in drink tickets, I was getting paid in laughs, I was a substitute teacher, I was getting paid with boogers and snot from the kids. Wasn't a good look. But then all of a sudden I made 100 grand. And I was 27 years old, right? My first year that I'm doing financial sales, I literally made $5,000 straight up. Like I went from making 20 to 5. You're thinking, all right, but it was an investment in myself, building a book of business. Boom, second year, 2007, 2008, right before the crisis, I made 100 grand. That was fucking ridiculous to me. When you go from 20 to 100, you know what I did?
What do you do?
I didn't do anything. I lived with my roommates. Right? I had some friends. Maybe I went and got a little nice dinner to celebrate.
Yeah.
But I just saved that
Dinero.
money. Thank you for our Spanish speakers out there. So here's my advice to you. If you make 50 grand and you go to 100. If you make 80 and you go to 100. You go 80, you go to 120. Give it 6 months and literally do nothing. Don't run out the door to find your new apartment. Don't, run out the door to find a new car. Don't go ball out and get a new watch. Just let it marinate and let cooler heads prevail, and you'll figure out long-term what you want to do with the money. It's so easy. Like you said, it's burning a hole in my pocket.
Yeah.
Can't get over this. Just give it a second.
I got a question
Vanessa, go
for
ahead. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Vanessa. Go
I
ahead.
thought I heard a female's voice, and it was
No,
you.
it wasn't me.
I got
okay.
a
David, what's
question.
your
It wasn't
question?
me.
All right. So what would you suggest to that person saying, listen, I went to that and I have this debt, this credit card debt, or this car that I want to pay off with this money.
Okay.
What do you do?
That's
I still
not,
marinate and think,
no,
or
okay. So that's smart. So they say that only 20% of financial wellness is mental.
Yeah.
80% is behavioral, meaning I know that I should pay off debt. I know that I should, stack cash. But I'm trying to ball out.
Trying to ball out.
Trying to ball out, right? So what you're bringing up is a very good point, right?
Right.
If you got $40,000 in loans and you just made an extra $40,000, I'm not saying to pay it all off at once, but some of it, most of it,
20,
all
30,
of it, whatever. Like get out of that head. Get out of that hole that you're in. Get out of that debt. So, like I said, so I'm at the point right now. I'm very open with my finances. I'll tell anybody what I'm worth, what I got, whatever going on. So ever since basically 2008, with the exception of one year, I've made over $100,000. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's been years where I made $200,000. I made $300,000. The most I've ever made in a year is $500,000. Pretty fucking dope, right? But here's what I've done. Every single year of my life, I live like I still make $100,000.
Yeah, you do.
Okay. Yeah, you do. Way to pick up a tab, buddy. Pick up a tab for once. No, I'll definitely. I treated Kat for his birthday.
Yeah.
But the point is this: it's not like I'm living. I won't spend any money.
No, not at all.
I'm living like my floor. There's a floor and a ceiling. My floor is 100 G's.
Yeah.
I'm willing to ball out with that. Everything above that, I'm just saving and investing.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me wrap this up because I know we got a lot of stories we want to cover today. There's a lot of things going out there. David, if you see anything in the comments that stands out, a question, you let me know because it's hard to talk and look and think at the same time. You know how they say it's...
Dave, I'm also reading just in case.
Okay. Thank you, Vanessa.
Someone asked how tall I was. I'm about 6'4".
6'4", but minus a foot. So here's the deal. Here's my advice to our friends out there. Let me put a bow on this beautiful little segment we got going on so we can move right along. In sports, I'm a big sports guy. You got offense and you got defense. The same thing with money, okay? You got offense and defense. Offense is how much money is coming in. Defense is your expenses. How much money are you limiting going out, right? You got offense and defense. So here's the analogy that I'll use. I'm a huge basketball fan. I used to play. I used to ball. Back in the day, there was a team in the basically early 2000s called the Phoenix Suns, right? They were just in the NBA Finals this year. Devin Booker, Chris Paul, right? We know what happened. They lost in the finals. But back in the 2000s, they had a player called Steve Nash. Everybody knows him as one of the best point guards ever. They got amazing players. Amari Stoudemire, Sean Marion, The Matrix, Leandro Barbosa. They had a sick squad. They had the best offense in the league. They put up 125 points a game. Sick. But you know how much they gave up a game? 126. Okay? So they're scoring buckets. They had a philosophy of you got to score in the first 5 seconds. They're running down the court. They're getting buckets, layups, three-pointers. They're killing it. But when push came to shove and they actually had to D up, they would lose. And the other team would put up a little bit more points than they did. What's the analogy here? If you're making $100,000, if you're making $200,000, if you're making more than that, you got sick offense.
Yeah.
Right? You got sick offense. But you
defense.
know what your problem is? Probably got shitty ass defense.
Yeah.
You got leaks and holes all over your squad, and you got money flying out the wazoo. Because why else would you be living paycheck to paycheck when you're making $100,000 a year? Okay, even if you're in an expensive city. So my advice to you, offense, defense, understand what's coming in, understand what's going out, limit your expenditures. Everybody's got the same big 3 expenses: your housing, your transportation, and your food and beverage. And you got to figure out which of those is costing you way too much money, right? So basically the bottom line is budget, understand what's coming in, what's coming out, and that way you can start building your net worth. So all my friends out there that are making $100,000 a year, keep it up, but limit those expenses.
Talk is money. All we talk is money.
If you enjoyed that short clip from the Soscast, click here to watch another, click here to watch the full episode, or just stay broke.